Hi, my name is Nang.
And my name is Chat. Today, we will help you understand your rights and entitlements as migrant berry pickers in Sweden.
Swedish law states that your employer should provide you with good working and living conditions, including good employment terms. This also applies to you, even though you will only work in Sweden for a few months.
But what do good working and living conditions mean, Nang?
It means that your employer must provide you with 2 identical copies of a written employment contract. One for you and one for the employer, and in a language that you understand. The contract must include details such as your employer's name, your workplace's location, a description of your role and responsibilities, information about the guaranteed minimum wage, and the day of the month or week you will receive your payments. The contract should also specify the nature of your employment, either seasonal or long-term. The employment contract should also clearly state the number of working hours, weekly rest days, and holidays, as well as financial compensation for overtime or work during holidays, and other employment benefits to which you may be entitled.
Your employment contract is very important because it is a legally binding document between you and your employer. It outlines your rights, which must be respected. Your contract may help you in claiming your rights. However, this only can be done if you fulfill your responsibilities under the employment contract.
Now let's talk about the workplace. According to Swedish law, your employer should provide you, free of charge, with work clothes, tools, and personal safety equipment such as raincoats, boots, gloves, and visibility vests.
The Swedish law states that your working hours should be no more than 40 hours per week. Additionally, you should not work more than 12 hours overtime per week. On working days, you should have an uninterrupted daily rest of no less than 11 hours for each 24-hour period. Nightly uninterrupted rest period is between midnight and 5 a.m. For the weekly rest, you should have a rest period of 36 hours per week, or at least 1 full day. During workdays, you are also entitled to rest for meals and breaks, at least for 30 minutes after 6 hours of consecutive work. You can take pauses during working time as much as you need.
Berry pickers are paid based on the quantity and type of berries picked each day. Your 13% holiday compensation is included in the piece rate.
When you work full-time for 40 hours per week, you are guaranteed a minimum wage as per the standards of the current year. This means that if you do not manage to collect berries valued at the equivalent of the minimum wage, the employer must top up the amount you earn from picking berries to match the guaranteed rate, which is calculated based on the monthly minimum wages plus holiday compensation. Although as a temporary worker, you are not covered by the Swedish social security system, you are still protected by the insurance that your employer purchases for you. You will also be compensated if you suffer from any work-related injuries, that is, injuries that are sustained when at the workplace or when traveling for work between the camp, forests, and weighing station.
If you become ill, your employer should support you to ensure that you can access necessary medical treatment. While you are recovering, you are still entitled to sick pay, that is, 80% of the guaranteed minimum wage. Lastly, during your employment in Sweden, you should not be forced to perform any work under the threat of a penalty or against your will. Your personal documents should not be confiscated, and you should not be required to pay any deposits to your employer. If you are forced to do any of these things, it is possible that you are a victim of forced labor. In this situation, you should immediately contact the Thai embassy in Sweden at +46 8588 042 50.
You should now have a better understanding of your basic labor rights as provided by Swedish law. Knowing your rights is a first step to making sure that they are being respected by your employer. and to raise your complaints when needed. If you have more questions about overseas employment, call the Ministry of Labour of Thailand at 1506.